going to be speaking in the mode of goodness from you.
No, we can hear you, or I can hear you speaking, but it's not clear.
I hear me.
You're
A
muffled,
little, but
Prabhu.
yeah,
You're
the sound
muffled.
is muffled. We really cannot hear you, Prabhu.
No, Prabhu. I can read your lips. You're saying
Yes.
you can hear me. We can tell, but we cannot hear you.
Hear me.
There are some words that are coming out, but Prabhu, sometimes you're just speaking and there's no voice. We cannot
Yes.
hear anything.
Yes.
Hear me now. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Better.
Mhm,
This one
mhm.
is better. Globe is not smart enough.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Prabhu, loud and clear.
Okay.
Yes, it's clear now.
It's clear now.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Okay.
Loud and
Okay.
clear.
In case if it goes also in the middle of class, you let me know so that I will know that you are not hearing me, because it's very painful that you are using so much energy to speak from one side and the other side no one is hearing you. It's very painful. Then your energy is just going the drain, you know. Okay, so let's continue. So you're welcome to the new section of our Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, chapter 7. So we are done with chapter 6. Can somebody summarize chapter 6 for us? What was spoken in chapter 6? Very quickly. No one, no one. Oh, Krishna. Just because there's no one, I'm feeling sleepy. Is there no one?
Prabhu, chapter 6 is about Dhyana Yoga. So we were talking about the art of meditation and its primary purpose really is to control the mind, meditation, control the Atma. So while learning about the art of meditation, we also pass through Ashtanga Yoga, the eightfold path when it comes to the proper meditation. And then after that, we covered the destination of yogis, different yogis. Yogis that are who falls down after a short practice, and also those who falls down after years of practice. So what are their destinations? After that, we talked about the topmost yogi, that out of all people, the yogis are the best in the world because if they are practicing bhakti yogi or bhakti yoga rather. What else? So it really does focus on meditation because it's Dhyana Yoga, chapter
Okay.
6.
Thank you very much. So just quickly, based on what you explained to us now, we'll just add something. So basically, Krishna described the part of Ashtanga Yoga to Arjuna. Okay? And Ashtanga Yoga has 8 steps or 8 levels. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. These are the 8 levels of Ashtanga Yoga. So that is why the same thing can be called Dhyana Yoga, but actually the whole process is called Ashtanga Yoga. Okay? Can you hear me? Is this still breaking?
We can hear you clearly,
Can hear
Prabhu.
you.
Okay, so we are making progress. So Yama Niyama is the rules and regulation, the do's and don'ts. That is the beginning of the yoga system. So Krishna was telling us in the beginning, don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Then you have to go to seclusion, you have to do like this, you have to be a celibate, you have to do like that. You see, this is Yama and Niyama. Then asana means the posture. Then you have to sit erect, you have to sit and point, maybe looking at your nose, and your body is in straight line. This is asana. Then pranayama. Krishna mentioned you have to guide your in breath, your inward air and out breaths going, and you have to make them in one place. And Krishna was saying like that. Then you have to withdraw your senses. You have to be a brahmachari. Krishna was explaining that. Then he now came to where you become focused, dharana. Your mind become focused on the super soul in the heart. Then you become absorbed. Then you come to samadhi. You become one. You can see the Lord in the heart. Then you become perfect in this Ashtanga Yoga. So Krishna, explained this systematically in that chapter 6. If you read it again, you can go through it again and again. Krishna explained all these processes. And one thing that is there is that, most important thing is that at the end, even if Krishna have taken his time to explain all these things, Arjuna now saying, Krishna, this thing you have discussed, you have explained to us. The mind is very difficult to, you see, the mind is very difficult to control. It's even easier controlling the wind than controlling the mind, oh Krishna. It's very turbulent. The mind is very stubborn. The mind is very, he was describing the mind. And Krishna said, yes, Arjuna, it's true. The mind is very difficult to control, but by proper practice and detachment is possible. Krishna told him. Then Arjuna now said, oh, Krishna, we know that this mind is difficult to control. I know, Krishna, you just don't want to agree with me. Yes, you know. Krishna, you say, what about those people who have practiced this thing, control, and somehow they become distracted? Because we know that the mind is very difficult. And Krishna said, Arjuna, don't worry. Anyone who does good is never overcome by evil. Don't worry. If the person has practiced for a short time, he will go to heaven and enjoy and come back here. If he has practiced for a long time, then he will be born in the house of a great devotee. And quickly we pick up the consciousness back again. And before you know, it becomes fixed again in that transcendental consciousness. And before you know, it becomes perfect. Arjuna, I can tell you, to be a yogi is better than to be an ascetic, to be a empiricist, to be this. Arjuna, you should always be a yogi, because you're one who fixes his mind on me. It's called a yogi, a bhakti. Now I've just summarized. So when I say summary, I'm not reading the verses. We have just spoken whatever Krishna has said in chapter 6, isn't it? When they say summary, that is what I'm expecting. You speak it like a drama. Oh, Krishna say like this, and Arjuna say like that, and this. And before you know, the whole chapter is done. You see how I summarize it? So when I say summary, that is what I'm expecting also. You know, you put it, cover everything at the same time. You don't need to look at the text before saying it. Okay, so let's continue. So, having explained all this to Arjuna, you say what? Is he breaking?
No, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Because I heard Rasana Prabhu say something is not clear.
I didn't say anything, Prabhu.
Who was saying it? Somebody said something, says it's not clear.
No, Prabhu. It's good. It's very clear.
Yeah, I think I also overheard someone. I don't know if it's somewhere.
Yeah, but there was a voice earlier
Yeah, there
that
was a
we heard.
voice. But that was weird because everyone was on mute, including me. I don't know where it's
Yes,
coming from.
yes. Everyone is on mute. No one was
Anyway.
talking, but there was a voice.
It's November.
It's a ghost that joined us. He wants
Somebody
to
has
know.
hacked into our system.
Yeah, some soul is trying to join the Zoom meeting. Someone. So if the voice is still there or the soul is still there, you're free
Don't
to
worry.
stay.
There was not a ghost. I found out what the voice that was coming. It was the YouTube I signed in, so I didn't cancel it. So it was coming from the replay of whatever we have said is coming back.
Oh, okay.
See, so it's the YouTube. See, that is what overthinking can. Overthinking is very dangerous. You know, sometimes we just have to be very careful. When you start overthinking, then you start thinking of what is not even there. Oh, somebody's already thinking it's a ghost. I'm already thinking it's an anaka. But it's just something that is somewhere else, you know. Oh, Krishna. Okay, let's continue. So now we are going to chapter 7. Krishna is going to describe about himself to Arjuna, which is very nice to hear about Krishna. Krishna is going to describe about describe his power, how to worship him. And Krishna is going to talk about the 4 kinds of devotee worshiper and 4 kinds of non-worshiper in this chapter 7. Okay, so this is what we are going to see here. Because the first 6 chapters, Krishna talk about the eternal nature of the living entity, the soul. He talks about the worshiper and the means of realizing the Lord. So in the middle 6 chapter, Krishna is going to describe about the swarup of himself, his nature. Now in the first 6 chapter, he has talking about the swarup. He has spoken about the swarup of the living entity and how to worship the Lord. Now, in the middle 6 chapter, Krishna is going to talk about himself. That is why the middle 6 chapter is considered to be the most confidential knowledge. Are you hearing me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Okay. So let's proceed to the knowledge of the absolute. Verse 1. Okay, very good. Shibhaganuvacha Maya Sakta Mana Partha Yogam Yuja Madashraya Asamshayam Samagramam Yata Gaya Sita Shrino. So here Krishna is describing the Supreme Personality of God has said Now, yeah, O son of Prita, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So Krishna continued his statement from the last statement of the last chapter. Okay? He ended by talking in the chapter 6, he ended by talking about the Bhakti Yoga. Now, here he continued this from here. How by practicing the yoga in full consciousness, by practicing that Bhakti Yoga in full consciousness of him, with the mind attached to him. Most very important. That is Bhakti Yoga. You can know me in full, free from doubt. Asam Saya. Very, very important. You see, Asam Shaya Samagra Mam. Yatagya Sintashri. No. Hear from me. Prabhupada is going to emphasize on that. Let's read the purport. Who wants to read?
I read it, Prabhu.
Please.
In this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna is, in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmajyoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is the ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahmajyotir and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, touch Shrenu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna and not from non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto as follows. Shunavatam swakatha Krishnaha punya shravanam kirtanaha hridyantasto hyabadarani vinonati surit satam nashta prayeshwa badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamashloki bhaktir bhavati naistuki tadarajas tamobhavaha kamalobadyash chaye chitaitar anavadam snitam satte prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaya gantish chidyan te sarvasam shayaha shiyanti shaya karmani drishta evat manishwari. To hear about Krishna from the Vedic literature or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge as he hears more about Krishna. from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees. He becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severes the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asamshayam smagram, understanding of the supreme truth, personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita 1. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. So this hearing from Krishna or hearing about Krishna is emphasized by Srila Prabhupada in this first, and Krishna himself also in this verse. And then those shloka quoted by Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam, if you like memorizing shloka, please memorize them. They are very nice shloka. Shivata Swakata Krishna Punya Shabana Kirtanam Ridyata Soni Padarani Video Notice to Satam. Nasta Prayusha Badri Shunityam Bhagavata Seva Bhagavati Tamashloka Bhakti Bhagavati Nasikitana Raja Samu Baba Kamalo Badaya Chitaita Navida Nasate Pasita. So these are very nice shlokas describing the glories of hearing. Hearing what happens when you hear about Krishna. The most important thing in developing faith in God is hearing the scriptures. If we don't hear the scriptures, if we don't scrutinize the scripture, if we don't study the scriptures, our faith is going to be very meager. Our faith is going to be very small. So it's very, very important to hear about Krishna. Very, very. There's nothing that can, supersede that. Or you can substitute that for. No. Very, very important to hear about Krishna. That is why you see Prabhupada is emphasizing on that in the purport. Because Krishna himself is speaking in this particular chapter. So he's telling Arjuna, Tashrinu, hear from me. Who can be the highest authority other than Krishna? So here Krishna is telling Arjuna, hear from me about myself. See, that is one of the specialty of Krishna consciousness. That is why we are very, very fortunate. Because our scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, is spoken by God himself. Every other scripture in this world, go and check it, go and make research, is written by some saints. Okay, it's written by some saints, some devotees who heard about God, who hear from God. But here, Krishna himself speaking. This is not heard from someone or somebody just wake up one day and hear God speaking. No. Or somebody is getting some realization after purification, then he's writing down about God. No. Or somebody saw God and is writing about him. No. Or God spoke to somebody in the dream and is writing it down. No. This is Krishna himself speaking about himself. Who can talk more about yourself than yourself? Everybody can speculate about you, who you are, whatever. But you yourself, you know yourself, except if you don't want to talk about yourself. You know your glories, you know your shortcomings, you know your weakness, you know everything. You see? So, but in case of Krishna, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So who can talk, who can give more full knowledge about himself than himself? No, no one. So yeah, Krishna is telling Arjuna, Tashri, no, Samagrama, I'm going to tell you about this in full. Please hear from me. Prabhupada mentioned Samagrama in the purport. Samagrama means completely. You see? Samsaya, without a doubt, you see? Samsaya Samagrama. You should hear about me. When you hear about me, you become free from all doubts. With your mind attached to me, you become free from all doubts. So only when we, understand Krishna and the knowledge of Krishna, know about Krishna, then that will become free from all those our doubts in our mind. And those doubts, they are the one holding us back. So the only way to clear those doubts is to continue to hear about Krishna again and again, again and again, again and again, to hear about Krishna. That is the only way to clear those doubts. There's no other way. There is no other way. Okay? So Krishna is continue from where he stopped in chapter 6. How Arjuna should, engage more in devotional service and make his mind attached to him. Because Krishna mentioned in chapter 6 that it is possible to control the mind, but by proper practice and detachment. So what is that practice? Attachment of the mind to Krishna. You see, that is a practice. Attachment of the mind to Krishna. Hearing about Krishna. When you hear about Krishna, see, one thing about the power of hearing is that whatever you hear again and again, subtly, you become attracted to that thing. Subtly. Many of us, we don't know the power of advertisement. You see those signboards that they are hanging up in Metro Manila, they put it a very big and a high weight, very big. If you find out how much they are paying for that signpost, you will open your mouth. It costs sometimes, some of them may cost $500,000, some of them may cost $1 million. Those signs you are seeing, they cost so much. I don't know who know about how much they cost, but they are always generally very expensive, isn't it? So how will somebody spend so much money to put just one picture up? Just ordinarily, you will see one picture and some few wordings, and they spend so much money to put that up, and you look at it that they are full. No, they are registering by saying that. They are putting that in your mind, your subconscious mind. So whatever you are hearing again and again, whatever you are seeing again and again, that start registering in your subconscious mind. That is the power of hearing again and again the glories of something. Rukmini Devi, she just heard about Krishna, the glories of Krishna from Narada Muni. She has not seen Krishna. She heard about the say, Krishna, I've heard about your glory. Please come and kidnap me. I don't want to marry this person that they are arranging to marry me. Krishna, please come and take me away. Just by hearing the glories of Krishna. You see, this is the power of hearing the glories of Krishna. Shukadev Goswami was an impersonalist before. Person who spoke about Bhagavata himself. He was a very high devotee, self-realized. Was always meditating on the Brahman. But when he heard the glories of Krishna, the greatness of Krishna, oh Bhakti Sanakala Pusham, when he heard the glories, how merciful Krishna was to even Bhakti, the witch, Putana. How Krishna was very merciful to Putana, who has come to kill him. Sukadev Goswami became a devotee immediately. Just hearing the glories and the sweetness of Krishna. So it's same thing also. When you watch the news, you watch the TV, you start hearing about the glories of somebody. Maybe it's a movie star. Before you know, subtly you start developing likeness. You start sports player guy. Because why are you developing likeness for that person? Because you are hearing about the glories of the person again and again. So you start developing likeness, for that person. And you want to know more about that person. So that is the power of hearing. So that is why it is mentioned of all the 9 processes of bhakti, beginning from Shravanam, hearing about Krishna is very, very important. That is why it's mentioned in the purport, Papa mentioned in the purport, Shrivata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Ridiyata Stohabadrani Vidunote Puri Chatam. Just by hearing about Krishna, Shrivata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtan. Just by hearing about Krishna, it creates auspiciousness in our life. That Krishna himself personally enter into our hearts and cleanse, it cleanses the heart of all the debts. You see? So that is the power of hearing about Krishna. It cannot be overemphasized. Very, very important. So this simple austerity you are doing every day, don't stop. Okay? Let's continue the journey of hearing about Krishna, at least if it is 1 hour every day. It's very important. Read and hear. And if you can take some extra time to read yourself or listen to some audio book, that is very, very wonderful. See? So let's continue. I used to enjoy listening to audiobooks. It's very, very wonderful.
Prabhu, you're stuck now.
It's Globe acting up.
We're
Globe
using
is not smart.
you. No, we're using Globe. It's quite okay.
Audiobook. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, you're
Yes,
back.
now we can hear you.
Okay. Where was the last you heard me last?
You were saying you enjoy listening to audiobooks.
Yeah. I was saying when you are cooking in your house also, you can play audiobooks. As you are cooking, you are listening to the audiobook. Chaitanya Chamita, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, all these our books, we have them in audiobooks. Just be listening to them and be cutting your vegetable.
What, Prabhu, what is the name of that Prabhu who narrates stories and Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam? He likes to get into character, like changes his voice.
What is the name of his desk, Prabhu? I've forgotten his name.
Yeah, I forget his name, but I enjoy listening to him.
Now. He has become a science. So very, very wonderful. Okay. So let us somehow or the other hear about Krishna. That is the most important thing. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Gyanateham savigyanam edam vakshamya sheshataha yagyatva neha bhuyonyaj yatavyamabashishyate. So Krishna continues, I shall now declare unto you in full knowledge, in full this knowledge, both phenomena and numinals. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So Krishna is going to tell him about the knowledge about how he pervades everything, and talk about his own knowledge. That is the meaning of the nominals and the phenomenal, the spiritual and material. Okay. So Krishna is going to give him the full knowledge about all these things. Okay. Let's quickly do one assignment. Open your dictionary and check what is the meaning of numinous. Have you found it? We know phenomenon, no? Do we know the meaning of phenomenon?
Prabhu Google says it means having a strong religious or spiritual quality, indicating or suggesting the presence of a divinity. It was numinous, right?
You say what?
Was it numinous? I'm asking.
Yeah, it's here in the verse. You didn't see the verse. I just have to check the
Yes.
two words properly translated there.
Yes, Prabhu. Numinous.
Luminous means spiritual knowledge, and a phenomenon means extraordinary, remarkable. So Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, this was spiritual knowledge and extraordinary knowledge about himself, about the material world, and all this. So Krishna say, yeah, knowing this, nothing further shall remain to be known. You see? So this is the kind of knowledge Krishna is about to impart in us through Arjuna. Okay? Okay, someone want to read?
Okay, I read, Prabhu. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, the source of both of them. This is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above-mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord, and it is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in the cyclic succession directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known, and nothing remains unknown. The Vedas, Mundaka Upanishad 1.3 say, Kashmin o Bhagavo Vidnate Sarvam Idam Pridnatam Baba Iti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, Prabhupada explaining here, knowing Krishna, who is the supreme, then everything is known automatically. But Krishna is the cause of all causes. So Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, that the Lord wants to explain the above-mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord, and is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in discipline succession directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, and the only object of meditation in all types of yoga practice. So this is what knowledge Krishna is going to give Arjuna, and in text 3 is going to explain how knowing him is very, very difficult. Because to have this knowledge is not easy. It talks of understanding who God is. Okay, then he says, this is a very famous verse. We should all memorize this. Okay, these are the verses we should memorize. 7:3. Manusyanam sahasreshu kasi yatati sidaye yatatam apisi danam kasima betita tataha. Okay, Krishna says, out of many men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Okay, hardly one knows me in truth. So whenever I'm preaching to people, or go out on preaching, or if I want them to read Bhagavad Gita, if I want to give them Bhagavad Gita, I will now tell them how unlimited knowledge of God is. The knowledge of God is so unlimited, to know God. Because I know generally that people have doubt on the knowledge of God, who God is. I know, generally. Only in Christian consciousness we come to know about who God is. But generally people have doubt about who God is. So I know their mind. So I used to tell them, to know God is not easy. We all have doubt about God. And that's why God has mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself mentioned Bhagavad Gita. Then I open 7:3 to them. See, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, at least one knows to be true. I showed them that they look like this. Oh, it's true. Then again, I open chapter 7:26, which is still far away. It's all very similar to this also. You see, and I quote that also to brother again. They say, okay, like that. So here Krishna is showing us that The knowledge that is going to teach Arjuna is not ordinary knowledge, because it's not easy to understand him, not easy to understand God. And of those people who are proud that they have knowledge about God, hardly one knows him in truth, hardly. Hardly one knows him, because understanding the knowledge about God, about His creation, the material world, about the living entity, is not enough, realizing who God is himself personally. That's why God, Krishna said, of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Hardly. Very, very important to take note of this. So Krishna, after saying this, then he started describing the knowledge to Arjuna, the knowledge he was talking about. So let's continue. Let's read the purpose. Sorry, we have not read the purpose.
Okay, I'll read. There are various grades of men, and out of many thousands, one may be sufficiently interested in transcendental realization and try to know what is the self, what is the body, and what is the absolute truth. Generally, mankind is simply engaged in animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, and hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. The first 6 chapters of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in understanding the self, the super self in the process of realization by Jnana Yoga, and discrimination of the self from matter. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but at the same time, he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Although the greatest of the impersonalists, Shripada Sankaracharya, has admitted in his Gita commentary that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna, even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda. Ishvara Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy, as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules and regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.101, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhin Vina Aikantiki Harir Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. It is not possible for the Brahman realized impersonalist or the Paramatma realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjuna. Even the great demigods are sometimes confused about Krishna. Muyanti yat suryaha, mam tu vedana kaschana, and no one knows me as I am, the Lord says. And if one does know him, then samahatma su durlabha. Such a great soul is very rare. Therefore, unless one practices devotional service of the Lord, one cannot know Krishna as he is tatwataha. Even though one is a great scholar or philosopher, only the pure devotees can know something of the inconceivable transcendental qualities in Krishna, his being the cause of all causes, his omnipotence and opulence, and his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees. He is the last word in Brahman realization, and the devotees alone can realize him as he is. Therefore, it is said, Ataha Shri Krishna Namati, Nabhaved Grahyam Indriyai, Sevan Mukhehi Jivhadau, Svayam Eva Spuratyadaha. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So Prabhupada has explained everything in the purport. Not easy to understand Krishna. The so-called Gyanis and Yogis, they say the path of Bhakti is very difficult. Ask them to come and practice it. They cannot stay on the path for a long time. So how is that easy? Okay, so path of Bhakti is not easy, but at the same time it's very practical. So their own so-called Bhakti, path of Bhakti, is due to not following the strict rules and regulation of the scripture. Like Prabhupada quoted the Upadeshamrita. If people don't follow the scriptures, the revealed scripture, in the human society, in following religion, then the so-called whatever they are doing is a disturbance to the society. See? So that is why. So it's very, very to understand who God is in this material world. Prabhupada here is talking mainly about the impersonalists and Gyanis. These people, they are very great, knowledgeable people in India. Prabhupada is not even talking about the Western world. Prabhupada is always talking about the impersonalists and the Gyanis. These people, they took so much time to study about the personal Brahma Jyoti, about the localized Paramatman. They study a lot, but still, they are still under the influence of the modes. Talk less of those who don't even really know who God is. Now they started claiming Jesus to be God. You see? Because they don't know who God is. Now they have turned Jesus to be God. And Jesus told them very clearly, I'm not the Father. The Father who sent me is higher than I. Now they have gone to war juggling. And some say, he said that because it was there in the war as a word, and the word was God, and the word was God. They're just going to war juggling and to try to tell you how Jesus is God. No, Jesus Christ never said so. Jesus Christ went to India. Jesus Christ went to Jagannath Puri. He went to the Nepal, the Tibet. He traveled all these places, searching for the truth himself also. And when he understand the truth, he practiced his truth for some time, and he became self-realized. And he came back to Islam to preach. You see? So he is fully aware of who God is. But today, you'll be surprised how majority of people in this world, we all know that God is there. But who this God is, no one knows. That is the most amazing thing. Even in my today I was watching one video, and somebody posted in a group, one group I'm present there. So in that video, the person was explaining my own culture. What I mean, I don't even understand. So he was explaining it, how the culture is so esoteric, and how they explain about the cosmology in our own culture. So he was explaining everything. So he was talking about all the different small gods, so-called demigods, and a superwoman in our culture. And he was saying that is why it is mentioned that these people, they are being what Papa use worship, but only God can be served. About it, Papa use it in in the purport of the other verse we read, how the word bhajante, the meaning of bhajante, do you remember? What is the meaning of the word bhajante? Devotion. Only God who can render devotion to. The demigods, you cannot render devotion to the demigods. Anybody who is worshiping the demigods is business-based. It's business, pure business. You see, I'm serving you so that you can give me this. You see, I'm serving you so that you can give me this. Once you give me this, then I'll continue to serve you. It's pure business-based. You see, there's no love. Just like in marriage also, when the love has not been there, when the love is not there, everybody is doing something because of something. You know, only when they get old, when you see old couples, then you know what is called love. Because at that time, there's nothing they can do for each other again. They cannot gratify themselves materially again. But you see them holding themselves, but they hold each other's hand and they're working together, you know, and they're showing some romantic moves, you know. That is true love. At that time, there's no more business again. When you were young, everybody was doing business. Okay, I will stay in this area because of my children. You take care of me, and then I serve you, I cook for you, I do this. It was purely business-based, you know. But then since as time goes on, they remain for a long time, then they can start to express what is called, when the material and when the enjoyment reduces, then you can start seeing some glimpse of real love. Same thing also. Worshipping of the demigods is a business adventure, venture, you know. People worship the demigod because they want something. Okay, I worship Lakshmi because I want money. I worship Ganesh so that he can remove obstacles on my path. I worship this person. Worshiping of the only Krishna, when it comes to Krishna, you talk about devotion. So this person also was explaining like that there's God, Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè. But they cannot explain beyond that, even though they know that there's one God who is above all these demigods. But they cannot explain that because they don't have so much information about him. But here we're very fortunate. Krishna is going to give us all very deep, wonderful information about himself in this chapter 7. Okay? So, any question, comments, or contribution? Tomorrow is a public holiday. We resume on Wednesday. And tomorrow happens to be Ekadasi also. Very, very wonderful Ekadasi. That is when Lord Vishnu is waking up from sleep. And this Ekadasi is so special that if you can fast it dry, is the best. If you cannot fast it dry, it's okay. But if you can do Nirijala, it's the best. If you can do Nirijala and you don't sleep at night, it's the best. You see? Yeah. Ekadasi means giving up sense enjoyment. Giving the bodily, reducing the bodily enjoyment to almost zero. Now that is the meaning of Ekadasi. And increasing our devotion to 150%. Increasing our devotion to 150%, that is Ekadasi. Reducing our sense enjoyment, our body. And also we have Bhishma Panchaka, the 5 days of Bhishma Dev. Very special day. Okay, when I was in Mayapur, every day we'll go to Ganges to pray to Bhishma, because Bhishma is one of the Mahajans on the path of Bhakti. Bhishma Dev is one of the Mahajans and is the son of Mother Ganga. So every day we go to pray to Bhishma Dev. And some devotees, once they start the fasting from tomorrow, they do Nirijala tomorrow, Then on the other days, they do Ekadasi fasting, eating once a day. See? And if you can do these austerities, it's very good in fulfilling our desires. Our desire is supposed to be to love Krishna, but if there's some other material desire there, it's okay, it's understandable. Okay? It's understandable. We are all humans and we are not pure devotee yet. So if your other material desire is there, it's okay. Do these things to get the mercy of the Lord to fulfill them. Okay? And because one thing about fasting is that when you fast, you are denying yourself of sense gratification to get attention of the Lord. You know, everybody is doing this. Everybody is eating, and they are making you feel bad for not eating also sometimes. Prabhuji, prasadam, prasadam, prasadam. No, Hare thank you. You know? So sometimes they make you feel bad that you are not eating also. Say, Prabhu, prasadam. It's prasadam, prasadam, Prabhu, prasadam. Thank you. You tell them, thank you very much. You pay respect to the prasadam. See, don't worry. After this austerity, there's so many days for me to honor the prasadam. Don't worry. Only just this few days, I will just pay respect to prasadam. Don't worry yourself. You see, one thing about us is that the living entity, even though we are undergoing so much pain and so many miseries, still we cannot do something to help our life. Even when opportunity comes, we can still not do anything. And then we are blaming God, we are blaming everybody for our miserable life. No, you cannot blame anybody. You cannot. You see, even some people, they have diabetes. Tell them to stop eating sweets. Very difficult for them. You see, even though they're having problem, tell them to eat sweets, to stop eating sweets. They will not stop. So we have so many challenges, we have so many problems. So when all this kind of austerity comes, let us show our seriousness by taking some vows and observing them, just to show the Lord that we are serious to stop our suffering. You know, I know, please, this is the reason I'm doing this. Please help me. I know without you, I cannot help myself. Please help me, my Lord, please. And just because you are doing that, which everybody are not doing, you will see that your story will change. Situation will change for you. You'll be more happy. You see? And those people who don't want to change their situation, they will be looking at you and they will be seeing the glories of God in you. And they will become envious of you. You see? So these 5 days or 4 days, are very special days. Whatever you can do, you should do. Now I'm not very strong like before. Those days I used to fast dry for the 4 days, you know. You'll not be like skeleton. You'll not be like skeleton like this. There's one devotee in my country. After fasting, him and the Maharaj, they will not eat anything for the 4 days or 5 days. They will not eat anything, even water. They will not look like skeleton like this. You know? Very thin. They will look thin. And go and see them. Their life is different. They are always happy. No one does good can be overcome by evil. That is Krishna's opinion. Say, no one does good, Arjuna, and become overcome by evil. If you do good, you will always get good. There is no doubt. So doing all these things is they are very auspicious. So you can never meet with evil. You see? So I just say, let me speak a little bit about that. So from tomorrow, starting from tomorrow till Friday, it's a very special day, the last day of the Kartik, the last day of Shatomasya, the last day, Ekadasi. Tomorrow is the last Ekadasi of the year. Ekadasi has its own cycle. It starts from the next one after this one, and he ends in this one. Uttana and Upana. You know, the beginning is Upana, the last one is Uttana. You see? So these are the Ekadasi.
Prabhu, it
So
also says it's Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj's disappearance. Tirobab.
very good. Very good. There's so many activities happening in these few days. I'm just talking about Ekadasi and Bhishma Panchaka. So we can read them and take advantage of the glories of whatever is going on during these 4 days or 5 days. There's so many activities going on. There's Tusi Vivaha. There's so many activities going on. So check the calendar. I'm just talking about observing the Ekadasi and Bhishma Panchaka. So if you do something different, even though if you cannot, you like food, you cannot fast, at least do fast till 12 o'clock. Show some seriousness. Okay, you cannot fast for a whole day. Fast till 6 o'clock. Show some seriousness. You know, okay, tomorrow, on the remaining 4 days, you cannot fast at all. At least eat only Ekadasi food. You know, eat Ekadasi food every day. And if you have strength to fast, you can take fruits every day. But do something. If you want something, do something. If you want something, do something. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. Yeah, that is the law of the nature. This is the law of this land. You want something, you do something. In your little endeavor, that is where the blessings come. You know, like the sparrow, it was just trying little bits, and the divine intervention came. So when we do something little and with sincerity, then divine intervention will come. If you don't do anything, nothing will happen. But if you do something, something may happen. That is the secret of the word. Hare Krishna. So we stop here, and we'll continue on Wednesday. Hare Krishna. Panchakapatarubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo. So see you on Wednesday. Tomorrow is a public holiday. Enjoy your holiday. Haribo.
Before we leave, Prabhu, one quick picture. Everyone's here. Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Look at your cameras. Big smile. Hare Krishna. 1, 2, 3.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone.
So see you on Wednesday. Enjoy
See you
your holiday.
Wednesday.
Enjoy your holiday by observing Ekadasi and hearing more about Krishna and chanting more about Krishna. Tomorrow is a very special day. Please